Hey boys and girls, Squee913 here. Welcome to another Let's Read Lonewolf. Book 11, The Prisoners of Time. I know, it has been a long time since our last Lone Wolf segment. I needed a break. It's not too hard to understand, I hope, when you're reading entire books aloud. Every once in a while, you need to take a break from it before you burn yourself out. But we're back. I did consider finishing the Magna Chi series and then taking the break, and on some levels that might have been better. But personally, I would have found the wait harder if I was a fan or, you know, a person who really enjoyed the series, because once you finish the Magna Chi series, you'd be really excited to know what the Grand Kai series is like. So I thought it better to take the break now so that, you know, there's no break in between the end of the Magna Chi and the beginning of the Grand Kai. Who knows? Whatever the reasons, we are back, folks. We're back and in business. And first things first, you all voted for it. We are taking Nexus as our next ability. Next book will have Psi Surge or Animal Control. One of those two. And I'm fairly certain I know which one you guys are going to choose. So. Now, I don't believe this increases any of our combat skills or anything as such, since it doesn't finish any other lore circles. And the extra weapon of choice is the axe. So that's what you guys voted. You voted for Nexus ability and the axe. And that's pretty much it. We only have what we brought with us, which is a rope, potion plus 4, 5 fire seeds, 3 meals, silver box. Really? Silver box, eh? Yeah, I guess so. I don't know why I have the silver box, but whatever. In any case, and then of course all my special items, which I might have to, get rid of some, because I'm running out of room. In any sense, we have a combat skill of 28... 38 with the summer sword. No, 36 with the summer sword. So 28 normally. I'm verifying stuff here because it's been a while. 2 for the silver helm, 2 for the shield. So that's 4. And then was it +1, +2, 3? So that's +5, and then plus 3 for the grand weapons. What else is it? Hang on. Okay, yes, it's correct. I was kind of wondering where the extra point was coming from, because it's 2 from the shield, 2 from the silver helm, 2 from our lore circles, and then 4 for our weapon combat skill, because the improved weapons mastery of this book, Book 11, increases our bonus to +4. So we're good. Shall we get started? I think so. Alrighty then. Well, let me find the page. Actually, let me set this up real quick. Combat skill 28. Oh, whatever. We'll just say a bonus of 0. Because we know. We know. 40 and a bonus is 0. Because I don't want to deal with it. Okay? And I have 40 at the moment. Alright. We know what our disciplines are. It's pretty much all we need right now is this. Okay. Good. Good, we're good to go. Table of contents, numbered sections. Let's do this! All sense of time and space is lost as you plunge headlong into the whirling black throat of the abyss. Only a numbing chill and mournful sound, like a million voices crying in despair, accompany you on your descent into the unknown. Gradually your mind is filled with fearful visions, nightmare shapes that reach out of the darkness to claw and bite and scream at your passing. They grow in menace until they are swiftly dispelled by diamond-shaped motes of light, which streak past at incredible speeds. The tiny lights engulf you in a cone of fiery brilliance, and a metallic smell of ozone, sharp and pungent, assails your nostrils. A sensation of warmth surges through your frozen limbs. Then, an instant later, you strike solid ground with such suddenness that you are left stunned and panting for breath. Pick a number on the random number table. If you pick 0, it counts as 10. The number you have picked represents the number of endurance points you have lost during your passage through the Shadow Gate. But the random number generator hates me. 6. Okay, well, doesn't hate me horribly. Not today. So I'm at 34. Not bad. With dread anticipation, you stagger to your feet to survey your new surroundings. A bleak and desolate plateau, seemingly devoid of life, stretches into the distance on all sides. Jagged boulders litter a desert of crimson sand, which is stirred to restless motion by fierce and scorching winds. Neither sun nor moon hang in the amber skies above, yet their absence does not leave this world in darkness. For all along the horizon blazes a fire which glows brighter than 1,000 sunsets. You stare across this alien landscape, and a feeling of helplessness grips your senses as you realize where you have emerged. This is the twilight world of the Dazarn plain. A knot of fear tightens in your stomach as you recall what little you have heard about this world. The magicians of Summerland believe it to be an astral corridor that connects Magnamon with other planes of existence. So, by passing through a shadow gate, one of which is situated below the Guild Hall of Torn, a person can gain entry into the Dazarn. Dazarn. I guess it's Dazarn? Yeah, I'll go with that. However, those who have passed through the Shadow Gate in Torren have never been seen again, and the magicians believe the journey can be made in only one direction. They say there is no escape from the Dazarn. Your vow to restore the Kai and your stubborn will to survive against all odds refuse to let you believe that there is no way back to your home world. You cast aside your fear and steel yourself for the task of finding a means of escaping from this desolate place. But firstly, you must recover the 2 lore stones that fell into the Shadow Gate shortly before you. If you possess the Magnikai discipline of divination and have reached the rank of tutelary or more, turn to page 145. Yes, I have. I have that discipline. And rank. You scan the barren wasteland, straining your senses to detect the missing lore stones, which must be somewhere among the millions of rocks and wind-smooth boulders that cover the vast plateau. But it proves a fruitless search. You can find no trace of the lore stones, nor even the slightest indication that a shadow gate opened here. Well, that was pointless. The torrid wind sweeps across the landscape with increasing ferocity, forcing you to protect your eyes from the gusts of sharp, stinging sand. The need to find cover takes priority when you sense that the winds are merely a prelude to a storm. To remain here in the open could prove a fatal mistake. Peering through your fingers, you try to find somewhere to take shelter. To your left, in the middle distance, you can see what appears to be a mound of volcanic stone slabs. To your right, but further away, you notice a shallow gully running lee to the wind. If you wish to take shelter behind the mound of stones, or if you wish to decide to take shelter in the gully. Oh, man. Somehow I don't think behind stones are really going to help me that much. I guess I'll take the gully. I don't know. Sure, why not? Let's let random number table decide it. 0 through 4 is the stones. 5 through 9 is the gully. Gully it is! The wind tears at your clothing as you fight your way slowly towards the distant gully. Your feet sink deep into the hot, shifting sands, transforming the simple act of walking into a hard and painful exertion. After what seems like an eternity, you finally near your goal. You drop to your knees and crawl the few remaining yards towards the shelter of the shallow, rock-strewn trench. Gasping for breath, you bury your head inside your tunic to avoid inhaling a lungful of the sand-choked air, and gradually your pulse steadies as your strength returns. You wait for the storm to subside, but as if in defiance to your wish, the winds grow even stronger, whipping the sand into huge cyclones which suck countless tons of debris into their deadly spiraling cores. Fear returns to freeze your heart when the shadow of a raging whirlwind falls across your gully. In blind desperation, you crawl towards a narrow fissure at the far end of the trench, praying that there is an entrance to a cave. This time your prayers are answered, and the fissure marks the beginning of a shaft that descends deep into the volcanic rock. But as you draw closer, your hopes for a safe shelter are dampened by a gruesome sight. Strewn around the entrance of the fissure are the bleached and shattered bones of what was once a formidable creature. Nervously you reach for your weapon as you approach the narrow gap and peer into the lightless depths. A strange smell, sweet and unwholesome, wafts out from the inky blackness that stops. Sorry about that. A strange smell, sweet and unwholesome, wafts from the inky blackness and stops you dead in your tracks. But the deafening roar of the approaching tornado makes you swallow your fear and enter. Cautiously, you descend into the darkness, your weapon held poised to counter a sudden attack. If you have a Celt fire spear, or a lantern, or a torch, and a tinderbox, and wish to use any of them, turn to page 61. Yes, I do. I do wish to use them. Why would I not wish to use them? That's silly. Your light washes over the rough red walls and illuminates a narrow corridor formed by a violent rending of the land. Wearily you descend, taking care to avoid the deep potholes which riddle the uneven floor, and at length you emerge into a cramped, airless cavern. At that moment, a cacophony of noise surges along the fissure, and the floor shudders and heaves beneath your feet. Then a great blast of dust and debris knocks you off balance, and it is sucked out of the cavern by the whirlwind now raging directly above. The turmoil soon subsides, but as you drag yourself to your feet, you notice that you are not alone. A low, croaking growl issues from the far side of the cavern, and suddenly two slits appear, from which a baleful orange light radiates. With bated breath, you watch a shape emerge from the shadows. A long, scaly form with short legs and a lizard-like head. The outline of the body, perfectly camouflaged against the red volcanic rock, pulses like a heartbeat as it awakens from its slumber. It swivels its horny head and fixes you with an alien gaze, its snake-like eyes glittering with malice. If you have the magic discipline of animal control, no I do not. If you have not possess a skill or reach that rank, turn this page. The lizard beast yawns, and by the way, I've healed 5 points, so we're going to go ahead and use that. Oops. Wait, what? No. There. Okay. The lizard beast yawns, exposing a wickedly curved beak and a jaw set with dagger-sharp fangs. It snickers evilly, relishing the thought of killing and devouring you at its leisure. If you have a bow and wish to use it, yes I do. But how many arrows do I have for said bow? I don't remember. I honestly don't remember how many arrows I have. Let's just say 3. I'll say 4. I don't remember how many I had. I know I used a couple. Let's say I have 4 arrows. So yes, I have a bow. I wish to use it. Swiftly you draw an arrow and take aim at one of the creature's eyes, but instinctively it senses danger and twists its head furiously from side to side to spoil your shot. Pick a number from the random number table. If you have the Medicaid discipline of weapon mastery with the bow, be sure to add the appropriate bonus as well as any other missile bonuses. Okay, now considering I have weapon mastery with a bow, that's normally +3 to the roll, plus a menorah or whatever rank, which adds another 2, so I get to add +5, plus I have the silver bow, which means I get to add +8, +8 to my shot. So as long as I don't get 0, I've got this shot. You know, realistically, I am a badass with the bow. Alright, random number table, don't fail me now. Yay! Your arrow tears into its eye, splitting it open like a burst egg. It ends its flight buried deep in the creature's brain, bringing death in an instant and sparing the beast the agony of its terrible wound. Woohoo! So I'm deadly and compassionate. I have 3 arrows now. Slowly, the slain Kazinda falls to the cavern floor, its broad tail twitching spasmodically. When finally it comes to rest, you approach the carcass and examine more closely this creature of the Dazarn. Although the shape of its body appears reptilian, its scales are quite unlike those of any lizard you have seen before. They are thin yet incredibly hard, and seem to have formed from a substance more akin to glass than skin or bone. You ponder the origins of this curious beast until eventually the fatigue of your ordeal catches up with you. You must now eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. Unable to resist any longer, you close your eyes and drift into a dreamless sleep. I'm going to eat a meal because I'm going to say that even though I have the discipline of hunt mastery, there's nothing to eat here. I don't know if I can eat that monster. It might be poisonous. You wake with a start, stirred to consciousness by the distant flap of large wings beating in the windless sky. The sound grows louder, and quickly you gather your equipment and hurry out of the cavern to investigate their source. The storm died down while you slept, and the plateau is now becalmed. From the rim of the gully, you can see 6 black shapes silhouetted on the blazing horizon. They resemble dragons with snaky necks and ragged bat-like wings. Upon their backs, they carry gold-skinned creatures, human in appearance save for their lack of hair and their massive size. The leader sees you. He banks his dragon mount towards the gully, and the others follow closely in his wake. You fear that they are about to attack, but at the last moment they veer away and circle the gully before landing nearby. With practiced ease, the leader and 2 of his brothers dismount from their winged steeds. Each dwarf you by an arm's length, and although their heavy muscular bodies seem incapable of stealth, they approach like lions stalking their prey. "Ziuklokanra," speaks the leader, his voice deep and resonant. "Realan Norna," says another impatiently. "If you have the Magikai discipline of pathmanship and have attained the Kai rank of Scorn Kai." I have Scion Kai. Or Scion Kai, I guess. I don't know. But I have it, whatever it is. Your much improved Kai skill enables you to understand the language that these beings are speaking. They want to know why you have trespassed on their hunting ground and how you came to be here, alone without any means of transportation. You sense that they speak not in their native tongue, but in a language they assume to be yours. If you wish to tell them that you are from the world of Magnamon and that you have arrived here after falling through a shadow gate, or you wish to ignore the question of Mace Out. Yeah, I don't think that's going to get me anywhere. Let's tell them! I got nothing to lose. Having listened to your explanation, the giants react with skepticism, but despite their doubts, they are clearly fascinated by your appearance and the sound of your voice. "We are the Yakor," says the leader proudly. "We are the lords of the Yanis, the Shining City, and masters of the Abaxial of Xenos." Okay. "Come, we will take you to our realm, where you may tell your strange story to the beholder. He will divine its worth." He beckons you to approach his dragon mount, and you step forward, and the thought of being left marooned in this wilderness is all you need to persuade you to obey his command. With a mighty screech, the dragon mounts take to the air in unison and beat their great wings, filling your ears with a thunderous drumming noise. Your stomach heaves as the leader tugs at the rein, sending the beast laboring steeply into the fire-orange sky. The ground below falls away at an alarming rate, and within minutes you are traveling hundreds of feet above the plateau, your vision blurred by the speed of the rushing wind. Beneath you, the trackless waste stretches to the burning horizon. Without sun or moon or any change in the brightness of the sky, you find it impossible to gauge the passing of time. Twice you lapse into sleep, for how long you cannot guess, yet each time you wake, the arrow-shaped flight formation of the dragon mounts remains unchanged, and the Yakor themselves show not the slightest sign of fatigue. At length, the featureless wastes give way to thick, violet-colored grasslands dotted with scab-like patches of marsh and bog. The air becomes humid, and the faint smell of rotting vegetation conjures up memories of time spent in the Danarg. Gradually, the low land rises, and you soar above high valleys and rock-strewn meadows, broken hills, and weather-worn crags. As you approach a narrow cleft between 2 mountain peaks, the leader raises his hand. Upon this signal, the others close in single file. An immense crater lies beyond the pass, and at its heart stands a city, the most beautiful city that you have ever seen. And there's a picture of the city. Obviously the most beautiful city you've ever seen. Ever! The shining city of Yanis lies before you, rising in circular levels around the turreted citadel of sparkling crystal, which dominates the vast alien metropolis. Constructed out of sheeted platinum, silver, glass, and mirrored steel, it reflects the light in 1,000 colors from its walls, windows, and huge conical towers, giving it the appearance and splendor of a glowing sun. As the Dragon Mount glides over the outer walls, you feast your eyes upon a network of broad avenues lined with fragrant tree-like plants, squares, and fountains, and huge silver bell-shaped dwellings. Directly ahead stands the citadel. The leader signals once more, and together the Yakor land their winged steeds upon a glassy platform adjacent to one of the citadel's 5 circular watchtowers. There, you are met by Yakor guards, resplendent in armor and burnished silver, who attend to the dragon mounts with dutiful efficiency. The leader helps you dismount before dismissing his company and escorting you to a room in the watchtower. "You will rest here," he says, using only his mind. I shall take word to the beholder, and he shall speak with you. Refresh yourself and sleep if you wish. He motions towards an adjoining room and then turns to leave, the door closing behind him seemingly of its own accord. If you wish to investigate the adjoining room, if you wish to attempt to escape the watchtower... Well, I don't want to escape, because they might be able to help me. And really, what would I do if I escaped? Yeah, so let's just investigate the adjoining room. Wearily you enter the room, noting that in spite of the lack of windows and torches, it is bathed in a warm amber light. The opalescent glow pours from the walls themselves, illuminating a table set with a colorful food and a huge cushioned divan standing beside it. The oversized Yakor furniture makes you feel like a small child exploring a dining chamber for adults, but your hunger soon quells your unease and entices you towards the table. You are very hungry after your long flight to Yanis, and you now must eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. If you have the Mandakai discipline of curing, I do have that. Your Kai senses tell you that the food is untainted. You cannot identify any of the meats, vegetables, or fruits, but you sense that they are especially nutritious. If you wish to eat some of the food, sure. The food has a taste and texture completely unlike anything you've tried before, yet it is delicious. After having eaten your fill, you feel thoroughly refreshed and fortified. Restore 3 endurance points. Well, I don't need it, but whatever. There is enough food remaining for 1 meal. If you wish to keep the meal, mark it on your chart, plus 3 endurance points. Oh, yes I do. Meals! Plus 3. There we go. Alright, you return to the first room and peer out of a tall window that looks out over the city. Far below you can see the Yakor crowding an avenue which leads to an outer level of Yanis. They move with such purposefulness that from this great height they resemble a vast community of worker ants. For several hours you stare down at this beautiful alien city and its industrious citizens while you try to make sense of your situation. Eventually, you resolve to find out all you can from the one the leader called the Beholder. Perhaps he will be able to help you locate the lore stones and find a way back to Magnamund. At length, you settle down to sleep. A strong hand on your shoulder shakes you roughly from your sleep. The Beholder requests your company, says the Yakor leader, stepping back and motioning for you to rise. You must come with me. Together, with 6 attendant guards, the leader escorts you from the watchtower across an open courtyard paved with polished steel and into the entrance hall of the Crystal Citadel. There, a superb spiral staircase forms the center core of this stronghold, carved from a solid mountainous chunk of sky blue mineral unfamiliar to you. The stairs soar upwards towards the turreted roof, where the chamber of the Beholder is situated. With ease, the Yakor ascend and you struggle to keep pace. You count over 300 steps before the staircase opens onto a silent hallway, where a massive door of solid ebony inlaid with gold fills the entire wall. The bell is rung, and while you catch your breath, you wait for the massive door to open. You speculate on who the Beholder could be. You imagine him to be a Yakor warrior king, tall and strong, with wisdom and intelligence beyond mortal reckoning. With this image in your mind, you feel optimistic that he will aid you in your quest. However, when the black door finally swings open, you see Danny DeVito. No! Okay. Your hopes are dashed at the sight of him shocking you to the core. I'm telling you, it's Danny DeVito. Cradled in the muscular arms of Yakor guard lies the loathsome, stunted form of the Beholder. His withered corpse-green body is no bigger than a human child's, yet his bulbous head is enormous by comparison. Ew. Far larger than that of the giant who is holding him. It wobbles and sways repulsively when he turns to focus his eyes on you. Like polished gemstones, these 2 blank orbs glint in the flickering light of the chamber. Their cold sharpness revealing the intelligent being that lies imprisoned within the crippled shell. And there's a picture of him. Huge head, really tiny body. Kind of creepy, actually. Alright, Be not afraid of me, human, he says, using a language similar to your native tongue. I mean you no harm. My shape may not find favor with those of your species, but here in the Dazarn you must be prepared to disregard appearances if you are to discern the truth. With a languid blink, he dismisses the Yakor leader and his guards, and watches like a doting father as they descend the spiral staircase. If you possess the magic discipline of divination, I do. You focus your Kai skills in the beholder and try to fathom if his intentions are good or evil. You sense he possesses immense powers, both physical and psychic, which radiate from his body like rays of an invisible sun. You concentrate on his power, but all you can discern is that he is capable of using it to further both good and evil, and to make outstanding ice cream sandwiches. Oh my god, you have no idea. The beholder's ice cream sandwiches, mwah! Oh. Oh. Come, let me show you some of the wonders of my realm, says the beholder, as the great black door swings slowly shut. It is so rare that I am able to entertain a guest, I would deem it an honor if you would accept my invitation. With the only exit from the chamber now sealed off, you have no choice but to accept his politeness, but yet his politeness makes you feel uneasy. You are his prisoner, yet he speaks to you as if you were free to leave at any time. You walk beside the beholder along a corridor which leads to a vast circular gallery. At the center stands a towering bell-shaped vessel made out of a transparent glass-like material and filled with a huge seething ball of fire. Its brilliant light illuminates some strange equipment standing against the walls and cluttering the tables, but little of its heat radiates into the room. You pass on until you come to another gallery, which is floored with shining steel like a gigantic mirror. The domed roof is lost in the dim shadows, but at its center you notice a tiny disc-shaped portal. The beholder glances at a row of crystals embedded in the wall, and they glow in response to his psychic commands. I am called the Beholder, he says, his thin voice echoing loudly in the emptiness of the dome. I observe all that transpires in the Dazarn. I saw your arrival upon the Zaman Plateau, and I know from whence you came. So few of your kind survived transference that I abandon all hope of meeting you. Indeed, had you not met with one of my hunting parties, your bones would now lie bleaching on the sands of the arid plain. It seems that you are by nature a survivor. Suddenly a swirling column of light appears, projected from the disk at the center of the dome. It casts a pool of brilliance in the middle of the gallery and gradually widens until it encompasses the whole floor. Come, observe, and perhaps you will learn the nature of your new world, for you will need to adapt if you are to survive here for the rest of your life. No, he didn't laugh, but, he probably should have. That would have been great. The swirling light draws you into focus upon the mirrored floor, and you find yourself surrounded by a spectacular cosmic image. At the center spins a shadow as dark and deep as space, populated with suns and stars and a myriad of planets that revolve about them. This microscopic universe is in turn surrounded by a ring of total darkness, and beyond that radiate four beams of different color, like the spokes of a gigantic wheel. Between these beams are many areas of light and shade, some running parallel and some in isolation, but all of them connected by a pale shimmering mist. What you see before you is a tableau of our worlds. A light painting that depicts the universe of An and the Dazarn plain, says the beholder, as his servant carries him to the center, to the dark center of the floor. Here, among the suns and stars of An, is the planet you know as Magnamund, and beyond it lies the shadow gate through which you fell to the Dazarn. Slowly, the Yakor moves towards you, bearing his master with care as he continues his monologue proudly. And here, balanced between the elemental strongholds of fire and water, lies the Abaxil of Sinnos. This is my realm. I have chosen to live here, to shape it as I wish, and to populate it with beings whom embody my ideals. And here we have a picture. We have, the universe, the shadow gate, water, fire, air, earth, the Janus, and then some other realms. Coldly, the beholder stares into your eyes, and you feel your body stiffen as he probes deep into your mind. You have the magnetism of side screen? I do! Get out of my mind! The unexpected speed and intensity of the beholder's psychic intrusion leaves you fumbling for defense. You draw on your psychic reserves and manage to erect a thought wall to protect your nervous system, but it is too late to prevent the beholder from scanning your mind. Lose 1 endurance point. Pfft, I'm just gonna get it back. So then, with a blink of his eyes, he ceases his psychic probing, and a smile spreads slowly across his withered gray face. I thought his body was green, not gray. Plot hole. I perceive much in your character that pleases me, human. You possess inner strength, honor, and a fiery courage uncommon among the mortals of On. Were it not for these traits, I would have no hesitation in ridding myself of you, for I will not tolerate the weak and untrustworthy in my realm. He pauses for a moment and gazes fixedly on the shape swirling near the center of the room. I have looked into your mind, and the reasons why you are here in the Dazarn are now known to me. The quest and struggles of Magnamund are of no significance to this shining city, but there are those of this world who would rejoice to learn that the last of the Kai is here, if only to seek you out and destroy you. For this reason you must leave Yanis, but I shall not send you away without guidance, for you have my respect, and I shall help you all I can. Good. It's a good thing I wasn't a cripple or something. You probably would have killed me right there. The beholder deactivates the light picture and wills his servant to carry him back to the first gallery. There, bathed in shadowless glow of the fireball, stands a huge globe of silvery metal. At its approach, it radiates an eerie phosphorescent light, and symbols appear upon its surface. The lore stones entered the shadow gate some moments before you fell. Is that not so? Asked the beholder incisively. You confirm this to be the case, and watch in fascination as the symbols shift and change color. There are many channels within the shadow gate that are warped by the vagaries of time and space. Usually, it is an impossible task to predict where an object passing through the Dazarn will materialize, but the coordinates of your arrival are known, and this will help my calculations. Slowly, the symbols begin to disappear until just 3 remain. Without knowing the precise unknown time they entered the shadow gate, I can only find only an approximate location, he says, scrutinizing the symbols. As reckoned by the timescale of your planet, the lore stones arrived on the Dazarn 41 hours ago. They materialized together and intact in the forest of the Kat Trisect of Vasada, a realm situated between the eternal strongholds of earth and fire and water. Earth and water. I don't know why I said fire. This bodes well for you, human. Vasada is a temperate and stable domain, rich in the elements necessary to sustain mortal life forms. Also, there is one of great vision who has made this her home. Her name is Siroka. It would be wise to seek her help in finding these stones of power, for she is sure to know their whereabouts. Although his words revive your flagging hopes, you are still fearful that the lore stones are beyond your recovery. The beholder senses your apprehension and tries to allay your fears by offering you a means of transportation to the realm of Vasada. He promises that your passage will be swift, but when you learn what the journey entails, your blood runs cold. This device, says the beholder, pointing with pride to a huge fiery vessel that dominates the gallery, is a dimension door. It enables you to pass directly to the realm of Vasada through a rent in the fabric of the Dazarn. You stare in awe at the sun-like ball trapped within the vessel and try to comprehend the secret sorceries that enable such a thing to exist. You will come to learn that the laws which govern my world are quite unlike those which shape Am. Here, time and space can be manipulated by those with power enough to craft them to their needs. He says, in answer to your thoughts, he wills his servant to carry him to another globe which stands close by. There he manipulates a bank of crystals, and gradually a swirling circular gray shadow forms on the glassy surface of the vessel. It shimmers, and you find that you cannot fully focus your eyes on it. Step forward and enter, commands the beholder. The door to Vasada is open. Your skin prickles as your stomach churns, but you fight to control your fear by relying solely on your Kai skills. You sense that the beholder is speaking the truth. The grey portal does lead to the realm of the Vasada, and so, with great trepidation, you bid him farewell and step into the void. At the very moment you enter the dimensional door, a sensation of incredible speed assails you. A twirling spiral of light unfolds before your eyes, and you hurtle towards its core. Borne along it in an envelope of gray cloud, you close your eyes, but the light penetrates your eyelids, growing ever brighter, and fills your head with a madness of color that forces a silent scream of anguish from your lips. Lose 3 endurance points. You know, you could have warned me. Could have told me I'd have light penetrating my brain. A sudden lack of air leaves you gasping for breath, but it passes in an instant, and when you blink open your eyes, you discover that your journey is complete. You have arrived in Vasada. From the brow of the grassy hill, you stare across a strange yet familiar landscape. Before you lies an expansive and verdant grassland, with clumps of woodlands and several winding streams. The warm air smells fresh and clean, and the distant sound of a birdsong is carried to you on the gentle breeze. Were it not for the gray, sunless skies above, it would be easy to believe that you had returned to your home world. A sudden wave of homesickness makes you feel heavy-hearted, but you refuse to allow it to weaken your resolve. Instead, you scan the horizon in hope of discovering some form of habitation. If you possess the Mandicite discipline of Hunt Mastery and have reached the rank of Principalian, or more, using your Kai skill, you focus your telescopic vision on the far horizon and see a group of shapes that resemble small pyramids of stone. However, you are too far away to be able to tell if the structures are inhabited. A nearby stream meanders in the direction of the distant shapes, and you decide to follow its course in hope that it will lead you to them. The stream winds its way sluggishly through the mossy glen to a thicket of red-leaved trees, which stand in a semicircle around the pale gray metallic monolith. If you wish to investigate the strange monolith, yeah, sure, why not? The base of the monolith is overgrown with weeds and wildflowers, indicating that it has stood here for some considerable time. Yet its metallic surface bears no obvious signs of weathering. It is tipped with a transparent spike, which resembles a short glass spear. You can hear a faint humming sound when you place your ear to the mirror-smooth spire. The sound seems to be originating somewhere deep below the ground. If you have the Mandicite discipline of Pathmanship, you'd have reached the rank of tutelary or more. I have. Your Kai skill alerts you to the possibility of an ambush. A group of hostile creatures are approaching the thicket, drawn by the sound of an alarm inaudible to human ears, which is set off by touching the monolith. If you wish to evade these creatures, yeah, sure. Let's not fight. Quickly, you try to retrace your route to the stream, but you soon come to an abrupt halt. A group of hairy, squat-limbed creatures is moving through the undergrowth towards you. They are armed with crude spears, which they carry at the ready, like hunters stalking their prey. If you have a bow and wish to use it, if you wish to take cover in the undergrowth and wait for them to pass, sure, let's take cover. Hope they don't see us. You hide beneath the leafy canopy of a flowering bush and wait in silence for the creatures to pass. Through a chink in the leaves, you watch as 2 of them approach, sniffing the air with their ape-like noses, as if they were trying to detect your scent. If you have the Mandicite discipline of invisibility, turn to 167. I do. Drawing on your mastery of invisibility, you use your skills to evade the searching eyes of these strange anthropod creatures. They pass within a few feet of you, but fail to detect your presence. Only when you are sure that the coast is clear do you leave your hiding place and hurry away from the monolith and its protectors. You are eager to put a good distance between yourself and the monolith, so you decide to run beside the stream for as long as your legs will allow. Time passes rapidly, although the terrain changes very little until you reach a line of low hills spread out before you like a sleeping colossus. Here a path ascends from the bank of the stream to the crest of the hill, and you follow it. On reaching the crest, you stare down at a remarkable and daunting sight. Danny DeVito? Oh, come on, I know he's in this book somewhere. A walled city of low, pyramid-shaped dwellings lies spread along the center of a narrow wooded valley. Near the middle, rising high above the other buildings, stands a citadel, its color identical to the drab gray of the sky. Admiringly, you observe the intricate carvings which adorn the surface, but your enthusiasm is soon dampened when you see that the streets are teeming with creatures you encountered at the monolith. You turn to leave, but a strange compulsion draws your eyes back to the citadel. It is your Kai's sixth sense telling you that Saroka, the one who can aid you in your search for the lore stones, resides in this tower of stone. The path leads down to an open gate in the city wall where two of its ape-like inhabitants stand guard. If you wish to approach the gate, or if you wish to search for an unguarded entrance. Yeah, sure, let's search for an entrance. By the way, I think I'm back up to full health by now. You hurry towards the woods that line the valley, hoping that the trees will hide you from watchful eyes of the guards as you skirt the city wall. But your presence has already been noted by a lookout stationed high in the Grey Tower, who saw you standing at the top of the hill. He has sent word to the gate guards to prepare a special patrol. 5 chariots drawn by fearsome beasts that are only a little like horses charge out of the city and come thundering across the grasslands. Your first reaction is to run to the forest, but the chariots are moving at a terrific pace, and you know that they could ride you down before you reach the trees. Their riders whoop with glee as they spread out to encircle you. Really? They only look a little like horses? Those look incredibly like horses. What the hell are you talking about? Alright, if you have a bow in which to use it, no, I don't want to fight these people until I know they're really trying to kill me. You decide to raise your hands and surrender. Well, she lives in the tower, so I'm going to assume these are friendly people? Sure, why not? Because it's not like I've ever made bad decisions before in this series. The chariot screeched to a halt, and a score of Yakor guards leap from the riding platforms. They come scurrying towards you, their glass-tipped spears thrust before them at arm's length. Their leader commands them to surround you. His order is swiftly obeyed, and you are escorted back to the gates of their city by spear point. In the frenzy of excitement, the citizens of Thas press forward on all sides, pawing and prodding and staring slack-jawed as you are brought along the main street, which leads directly to the Grey Tower. Your escort are hard-pressed to keep the crowd at bay, and by the time you reach the tower door, your clothes are disheveled and you are scratched and bruised. Lose 2 endurance points. Crap. I think I'm like 30. Let's just say 37. Yes, I'm at 3,837, of which I am at 1% of health. Woo! Where were those hit points when I fought the Vasada leader? With a loud, grating rumble, the stone door moves inwards, and you are given into the charge of 3 bronze-clad Yakor wardens. They usher you up a winding stair to the bare chamber, floored and walled with smooth stone slabs. Silently, a section of the drab wall moves aside, and silhouetted in the opening stands a tall, feline shape of a remarkable creature. I am Saroka, she purrs hypnotically. I bid you welcome, Lonewolf. Come, enter my chamber so that we may discuss your reasons for journeying so far to seek my help. If you have the Mandicite discipline of Saya screen. Oh my god, is everyone trying to probe my mind? Is my mind like a supermarket sweeps of psychic probing these days?